What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. We got a trade mailbag on today's show. So the way this works is I put out a post on our community tab and said, comment your best trade ideas. And I let the people have at it. So none of these are my trade ideas. These are all your trade ideas of people. We'll break them down one by one together. So let's jump into the first trade idea that comes in from TLH. They are suggesting the Browns receive Brandin Cooks and a 2023 7th-round pick for Kareem Hunt and Baker Mayfield. No. For a couple of reasons. One, the Brandin Cooks trades are dead. For a couple reasons as well. But I don't see the Browns trading Baker and Kareem Hunt just for Cooks. I think they believe Baker Mayfield is more valuable than that. And Kareem Hunt is probably more valuable than that if you were to package them together. But let's at least just tackle the Brandin Cooks side of this. Because if Brandin Cooks were to be traded, by the way, he signed a 2-year, $39 million contract extension like 2 months ago. Well, the dead cap hit for the Texans this year would be $7.8 million. Next year, $15.6 million. And only a $2.4 million cap savings. So it makes zero sense for the Texans to trade away a player they just gave a 2-year, $40 million contract extension and receive a quarterback in Baker Mayfield who they don't like, right? They could have had him the first time the Browns and Texans traded. The two teams have traded twice this year. Once in the draft and, of course, the Watson trade. Both times, Mayfield not a part of it. And Kareem Hunt, is he really the answer to their problems in Houston? No, it's not. I also believe if you were to package Baker Mayfield and Kareem Hunt together, which you'll see a couple times throughout this video, you're going to get a 2nd to 3rd round pick. Maybe that's a little bit ambitious, but I believe those two players combined, you're getting close to 3rd round level. I mean, Kareem Hunt on his own, 27-year-old entering the last year of his contract, probably gets you a 4th. You toss in Baker. Of course, Baker's contract, how much would the Browns eat would play a huge factor, but I think that's a good starting range to look at. So let me ask this question. Would you trade Kareem Hunt for a 3rd round pick? Y for yes or N for no. I've been very adamant about not wanting to trade Kareem Hunt unless I'm blown away with an offer, and the 3rd round pick area is right around where we enter my gray area of like yes or no. Next trade idea comes in from Piz Pick. They are suggesting the Browns get Terry McLaurin, and the Commanders get Kareem Hunt and a 5th round pick. We actually had 2 trades. Marshall, if we can get the second, there it is. Yeah, producer Marshall, shout out to him. Dr. Crew had a very similar trade. Scary Terry coming over from Washington. Commanders get Baker, Ronnie Harrison, and Greedy Williams. So let's just start by addressing the idea of trading for Terry McLaurin in general. And then we'll look at what the Browns would be giving up to get him. But he skipped Washington's mandatory minicamp as he's looking for that contract extension, right? 3rd round pick out of Ohio State who has been awesome. Probably the only good on the offensive side of the football for Washington in a long time now. So he's looking for the bag. And those are stats for a guy who dealt with Fitzmagic for 1 game until he hurt his hip going on a water slide. And then not the cool Taylor Heineke. Like not the Taylor Heineke that was about to upset the Bucs in the playoffs when they would go on to win the Super Bowl. Like not very good Taylor Heineke. Still over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. He was awesome. So listen, Scary Terry trade altogether, it's not going to happen. I hate to burst your bubble, but I just do not see a way the Browns can pull off trading for McLaurin. One, all the signs from Andrew Berry tell us he's not very interested in trading for a wide receiver, right? Let alone signing one right now. So I just don't see that happening. I also don't see the Browns giving up all those assets to get McLaurin. It's pretty clear that Berry is confident that Deshaun Watson will elevate DPJ, Anthony Schwartz, and David Bell. So why give up a ton of picks for a wide receiver when you just gave $230 million to a quarterback? I think that's more of Berry's train of thought. If you love trades, though, because let's be honest, America's backbone is NFL trades and ice cream trucks. It's just that plain and simple. Shout out to the campaign. So if you love NFL trades, subscribe today. You'll fit in quite nicely here at the Cleveland Browns Report. Next trade comes in from Darko Petrovic. They suggest the Browns receive Shelby Harris, while the Seahawks get Baker Mayfield and Dearness Johnson. Now we're getting maybe a little bit closer-ish, not really, to a realm of possibility. Initial reaction would be the Browns would want more for Baker Mayfield and Dearness Johnson than a 30-year-old defensive tackle. Not that Shelby Harris isn't bad, all right? He had a good season for the Broncos last year. He was a part of the Russell Wilson trade, right? Couple firsts, some seconds, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, and Drew Lock up to Seattle. He's probably the best player that honestly went to Seattle. Maybe Noah Fant of the bunch right there. But he would absolutely fit in quite nicely on this defensive line. He would be an immediate starter, and he'd probably be the best defensive tackle. Not probably. He would be the best defensive tackle. But I think Barry wants more for Baker Mayfield. He's not going to trade Baker and Dearness Johnson for a 30-year-old defensive tackle that he's no game wrecker. He's a good defensive tackle, don't get me wrong, but he is not out here lighting the world on fire. I think Barry is confident that he can get more for Baker. He's probably looking for picks, try to recoup some draft capital after losing a ton for the Texans. That would probably be my train of thought. But what about this question? What would you trade Dearness Johnson for? We've talked a ton about Baker Mayfield trades. We'll take a break from that for a second. But what would you trade Dearness Johnson for? Fourth, fifth? What would be the lowest you'd go for DJ? Let me know down below. And hey, while you're down there, we'll have the link to our friends over at Rumble. So if you're not familiar with what Rumble is, it's another video platform service very similar to YouTube, but it's more a little unfiltered. So it's a more PG-13 action going on over there. Check us out, rumble.com/Browns Reports. We are closing in on 3,000 subscribers. So cheers to everyone that's already subscribed over there. But if you haven't already, you're missing out. Make sure you go ahead and do so. This next trade comes in from Poison Pill, who had a lot of trade ideas, but I thought this was probably the most best and bite-sized one. They have the Browns getting Jimmy Garoppolo conditionally. We'll explain that in a moment. And a 2024 6th-round pick, while the 49ers get a 5th-round pick. So the only way I see a Jimmy G trade happening is if Deshaun Watson is suspended for the entire season. If he's suspended for 8 games, 6, 8, 10, 4, I don't care. I don't see it happening. But a whole year, Barry might go Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett. And when you compare them at their best, because Brissett last year for the Dolphins, just 2 starts, 5 appearances altogether. It's not really easy to compare that to Garoppolo, but there's no question who a better quarterback is between these two guys, right? Can we all agree on that? Sure, Garoppolo chokes in the playoffs and he overthrew Emmanuel Sanders to win the Super Bowl, but still, he is a better quarterback. So if you can get Jimmy G for a 5th, a 6th, or 7th rounder, which the 49ers are like the Browns right now, they are optimistic they can get more for their quarterback. But if you could get him for cheap, why not? You know what I'm saying? If the 49ers go into training camp, and let's say the Browns traded Baker to Carolina, and that was the only team that was out there looking for a QB, and now the Niners are like, shit, we really don't want to pay him $24 million, which is what he's owed this year. We can cut him, which we'll have to do, or could we just get something for the guy? Could we get a 5th or a 6th? And that way we don't walk away getting absolutely nothing for Jimmy G. That would be the only way I see a trade between the Browns and the Niners happening. But if you had to pick a quarterback, I'm putting 10 for Jimmy G. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer that Garoppolo is better than Brissett. So if the Browns had to go with a different quarterback for a full season, and they thought, you know what, let's still go all chips in even for 1 year on Jimmy G and then turn it over to Deshaun Watson, and it only costs us a 6th rounder, yeah, that's fool's gold. Why wouldn't we do that? Trade idea coming in from my guy Scorpion. They suggest Browns getting Robby Anderson and a 5th-round pick, a late day 3 is what they said, and the Panthers get Baker Mayfield and a 6th-round pick. So basically, you swap Robby and Baker, and the Browns get a little bit of a better day 3 pick right here. Give me Baker with Anderson. I mean, how funny would it be, though, if Baker Mayfield, after everything Robby Anderson said, got to throw passes to Baker. Like, I am, the dark side inside of me wants to see Baker go to Carolina and have to play with Robby Anderson after Robby Anderson was very adamant. He did not want Baker, and he's kind of walked those comments back, but we know Baker. He's going to hold on to that. It would be funny. But the Browns, according to Josina Anderson, are interested in a veteran wide receiver, and Robby Anderson would kind of fit that mold, and maybe Carolina's trying to get some capital back. I mean, Anderson's last 2 years in Carolina, after having a breakthrough year in 2019 with the Jets, 1,000 yards year one down in Charlotte. Last year, you fell off a cliff across the board. Targets, receptions, yards, sure, 2 more touchdowns, but he was a shell of himself from what he was the year before. The only way I would think a Robby Anderson trade would happen would be, what is the quarterback situation looking like, right? If you had Deshaun Watson, you probably don't need Robby Anderson. But if you lose Watson for 8 to 10 games and you still want to stay competitive, well, you better get Jacoby Brissett some more weapons to throw to, because Brissett was not brought in to bring up David Bell, DPJ, and Anthony Schwartz. You might want to find some proven veteran talent like Robby Anderson, and sure, if you can somehow toss Baker, well, make Baker a part of that trade, I'm all for it. But even if that's like a separate side pot of, hey, just Browns to Panthers, no Baker, just can we get Robby Anderson for a day 3 pick, and we'll, you send us a 6, we'll send you a 5th, something like that. It would be rather interesting to see that happen, but Robby Anderson's contract also not the most trade-friendly. You got to keep that in mind. The finances are a big part of this, so from a GM standpoint, doesn't make a lot of sense to trade Robby Anderson right now, but from a Madden perspective, yeah, it'd be pretty fun. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Matthew Petey. That way you stay in the know related to all your things to the Cleveland Browns. So follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys later with more Browns news and rumors.